Everybody, welcome to Turnbuckle Tommy Picks. I hope you guys are having a beautiful Sunday. We're off to a decent start. Real quick, for those that don't know, I post all of my plays daily on my X account, same handle as my YouTube. So you can always go and check in there. I always try to put my plays out early. I want whoever's tailing to be able to get the same lines that I'm getting. Like I said in one of my previous videos, that it's all about line value. That's how I handicap my games. I mean, I handicap the game separately, but I always look at the line. I try to find the value in the lines. That's it. If a line is priced at what it should be, then I don't see value in necessarily taking that line. It depends on the matchup, but anyway, check my X account. I put those plays up daily. Now, for those that don't know, Sundays in MLB, I call them strange Sundays because weird shit happens. You get a pitcher with an ERA above 7 goes out and pitches a 7 inning gem. Just a shutty. It's crazy. You'll see the number 2 team in baseball get torched. By the 28th team in baseball. I mean, it's just weird stuff happens on Sundays. So I always tell people, uh, bet smart. I mean, you should bet smart every day of the week, but be extra smart on Sundays. Be very selective with your plays. Don't just dive in head first and go with everything that you would normally go with during the week. Keep that in mind. Sundays, weird shit happens in baseball. It's just the way it is, and that actually leads me to I only had a couple plays in some day games, and the first one was Twins money line. I grabbed the Twins money line at plus 145, and they are currently up 4-2 right now, bottom of the second. A lot of runs being scored, and my pick for the Twins, you have Jose Ureñas starting for them. A lot of people don't even know who that is. And then Guardians are going with Joey Cantillo. Now, Joey Cantillo has been serviceable. He hasn't been great, but he hasn't been pure trash neither. Um, Guardians are a good baseball team. I actually think they've been undervalued and mispriced most of the season. In the first half of the season, they were playing some of their not so great baseball, I guess you could, however you want to say it. I believe this second half, you see them turn it around. They got a lot of talent on that team, a lot of young talent. I think it steps up. And you're kind of seeing that. They've been on a little tear recently. They've been winning some ball games, but today is one of those things. Obviously, Minnesota's looking to avoid the sweep. The entire world is on the Guardians, and I love that. I absolutely love, you know, anytime a good play just so happens to be a contrarian play. I like fading the world. And my thing is, the Twins are a top 3 lineup against left-handed pitchers over the last 30 days. They are absolutely crushing left-handed pitchers. And again, Joey Cantillo has been serviceable, but he's not great. He's not lights out. And I just thought that I had this feeling. I just felt like the Twins bats could touch him, and that's proven to be right so far. Like I said, the Twins are up 4-2 right now. It's still a lot of baseball left. Anything happens, so I don't count my chickens before they hatch. You know what I mean? I don't weigh out my smoke until I get it. And so that leads me into the second bet that I had. I actually had the over 8 in that game as well. And again, this was just more of Twins facing a left-handed pitcher who's mediocre at best. And I just feel like, hey, I think the Twins, personally, in my head, I had this as being, I felt the Twins could get to 6 or 7. That's what I was telling myself. I said, man, Twins against a mediocre at best left-handed pitcher, they're going to get 6 off of them at least. So I almost felt like the Twins could possibly go over this by themselves. So over's looking like it's in good shape right now. Twins money line is, it's nothing's a lock, but it's looking okay. So those were my first 2 bets of the day. And again, you can catch all my stuff on Twitter. Uh, go over, check that out. You can see all my plays. And please hit the like and subscribe. If you don't want to, cool. Again, I've said it before. I just love helping people make money. I love making money. I love sports. It's all I do is watch sports, read stats. I mean, that's it. I don't watch regular TV. We ain't got time for none of that, man. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. You know what I mean? So the next plays I have for this afternoon's game, we have, okay, so at the end of the video, my QR code will be up for my Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. You can scan those, and those can take you, directly to the places where I post the plays, because I don't put a video out every single day. I would like to get to the point where where I am able to put one out every day. So, we'll kind of see how that goes. And just play that by ear. So anyway, back to the picks for this afternoon's game. I have Mariners money line is one of my picks, and this is another pick I actually really like because you got DeGrom on the mound. So I do like Texas first five. And anytime DeGrom's pitching, you got to think he's going to hold that first five down. DeGrom is DeGrom. He's going to do DeGrom things, and that's usually shutting batters down. So I do like Texas first five. I just think Seattle can win the full game. Priced at plus 120. Look, Logan Evans hasn't been great. He's 4-4. He's got a 4.22 ERA. Actually, over his last three, he's got a 5.93 ERA. And that really sucks. But at home, he's got a 2.6 ERA, 2.60. They're 2-0 in his home games. The kid's pitched 27 innings, and he's given up 8 earned runs. Those are good numbers. And this is one of those games that, again, I just think that everyone's going to back Seattle with DeGrom or Texas with DeGrom. And, a lot of people are probably, Logan Evans is, he's one of those pitchers you have trouble maybe getting behind. But I think Seattle kind of owns Texas in a lot of these matchups, man. They really do. Seattle's a tough team. They play hard. Um, yeah, it's just one of those things where I just like Seattle in this. I think Seattle's trying to do big things. These teams have pretty evenly matched records. I fear Seattle's bats a little more. And I think they can pull off the win. And to be honest with you, I got this number at plus 120. And that was one of the biggest reasons I took it, was because I think that's mispriced. Seattle at home should not be plus 120, even if DeGrom's on the mound. I get DeGrom. They definitely have the starting pitching advantage. I understand that. But DeGrom ain't about to pitch the whole game. DeGrom is not about to pitch the whole game. I would price Seattle more at like plus 105, plus 110. I guess you could say is fair. But at plus 120, I just felt that was mispriced, so I wanted to jump on it. My next pick is Chicago White Sox money line. My Chicago White Sox. We love the White Sox around here. This is just such a young team with so much talent, man. I really love the White Sox. I do. I've made good money off of them this year. I understand they don't have the best record. What are they, 47 and 42 and something? But if you pick them in the right spots, they can be very profitable, just like the Rockies. Look at what the Rockies have done the last 2 games. I was on them in both games. We had Rockies money line, both games. Sprinkled the money line. My bet that I had made official was the Rockies plus the 1.5 on both games. But regardless, you just got to know the spots to pick them. And this is the White Sox second chance at a series sweep. They pulled it off once this year. This is their second shot at it, and I think that is enough to motivate them. And not for nothing, this team is just hitting, bro. They're smoking left-handed pitchers, absolutely torching them. They're top 2, 3, I believe, in OPS against lefties last 30 days. But they're top 10 against right-handed pitchers too. I mean, they're smoking everyone. This is a young team. They're finding their rhythm. I think with these younger teams, you see them play better in the second half because their energy's up. These are young guys. They're used to going hard for days. They're boosted up. A lot of the older vets, they're a little, especially if they've had to play a tough schedule, a lot of travel. the older bet. And granted, they know how to conserve their energy, but still, I just think that younger teams seem to play better in the second half. You got Sean Burke pitching for the White Sox. Look, man, he hasn't been great, 4.17 ERA, but I do think Burke has potential to do things. In his last three games, his ERA is actually 2.63. So he's been pretty decent as of recent. And then you got Kakanowitz taking the mound for the Angels, and he is a pitcher that I don't like. He's got a 5.75 ERA. Over the last three starts, he has a 7.82 ERA. At home games, a 6.00 ERA. They're 2-4 in his home starts. And this is just a guy who's not, I just don't like him. Very small sample size. He has seen some of the White Sox lineups. You got a couple guys hitting them, but they're not, no one's doing nothing absolutely crazy. A couple guys batting 500. But again, small sample size. Look, the White Sox, they're on a roll right now. And I want to try to ride that and get as much money off of them while we can. And I just think the White Sox are a good pick. I don't like Kakanowitz. I think he is a bad pitcher, and I think these White Sox bats, Roberts Jr., Montgomery, I think these guys just touch them up. I think they're in a good spot to touch them up. So, yeah, we love the White Sox money line. And the final pick of the night is Phillies run line. I understand this is probably a very public bet. I get that. But, look, it's like this, man. You got Charlie Morton making his debut for the Tigers. Now, this is a guy who actually, over his last few starts, man, old man Charlie's been actually doing his thing. He really has. He's had a couple blow-ups, but he's been pitching okay. But you got Christopher Sanchez standing across the street. And here's my thing. Christopher Sanchez just got touched up in his last game against who? That's right, the White Sox. The one at the time, they were, I believe, number one against left-handed pitchers in the last 30 days when they played them against them last week. So Christopher Sanchez coming off his worst start of the season, and I think he's going to be pissed off. He don't like getting touched up like that. He doesn't like looking bad. This dude is the most consistent pitcher, left-handed pitcher in the game, in my opinion, and he's nasty, man. He's so good, such a good pitcher. Love watching him pitch, and I think he comes out and shoves against these Detroit Tigers. I think he takes that anger from getting touched up in the White Sox game. I think he shoves against the Tigers. You're not going to see Kerry Carpenter because you got a lefty on the mound. And we all know Sanchez will pitch 7 easy. If it's up to him, he'll pitch 8 or 9. He'll pitch a full 9 as long as he's not getting touched up like that. And so I think he has a good bounce back game. And again, Charlie Morton, man, 5.42 ERA, over 6 in his last 3 starts. I think these Phillies bats smoke them. I really do. I just think these Phillies bats smoke Charlie. Yeah, that's Schwarber, Harper. They got good numbers off him, and I just think I think it's going to be a bad day for him. I really do. So I like Phillies to cover the run line. I got that at plus 120. I was hoping to get a little better number, but considering Sanchez on the mound, I was actually happy to get the 120. I think they covered this easy. I think they beat the socks off the Detroit Tigers. And I hate saying that. I grew up in a Detroit household. My entire family is from Detroit, Michigan. So I root for all things Detroit. I love the Tigers, love the Lions, love the Red Wings, love the Pistons. But that's not going to cloud the handicapping. I think this is a spot where the Phillies just dust them. And yeah, man, so that's it. So the recap, in case you weren't on the X account or you didn't get to see the plays, we did have the Twins money line, and then we had the over 8 in Minnesota and Cleveland. And then we also have the Mariners money line, White Sox money line, and the Phillies run line. Those are the plays for today. I will be dropping a video for tomorrow's plays. I'll be putting a video out later. It'll probably come out around midnight, maybe a little sooner. I already got some things I'm eyeing up. I'm just waiting on all the pitchers to be released, all the probable starting pitchers, and I'm waiting on some lines to come out. So as soon as these come out, I'll get these plays out for tomorrow. We will probably have more plays on the card for tomorrow. Tomorrow is Monday. That is not Sunday. And, again, Sundays are weird, man. Just be smart with it. But I hope everyone enjoys your Sunday. Best of luck. Remember, please hit the like, subscribe, check it out. Check out the X account. You can always get my plays there. It's Turnbuckle Tommy. Let's smoke them.